The NBA Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Kalshi. Making real money predicting sports. Kalshi is available in a ton of states, and you get $10 free with promo code SGPN. That is Kalshi, promo code SGPN. Yes, sir. We are back with another episode of the NBA Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. Know me, you know the voice on the guy. It's me, Villain Terrell Furman Jr. here at your service. So good to be back. And it's so good to be back with
Bing bang, bing bang, bing bang, bing bang.
Was it ever in doubt, really? The Knicks play the Hawks at home. First game of the NBA playoffs. Knicks win, lead the series 1-9, 113-102. Brunson was doing Brunson things very early in the game, and Karl Anthony Towns was horrible until about the last 15 20 minutes or so, something like that. But other than that, Knicks move on, win another game, a little bit closer. I really didn't have too much cause for concern about this series at all. Otherwise, going on in the league, Cavs 126-113 to the Raptors, Nuggets 116-105 to the Timberwolves, favorite. And now we have a 48-50 game with the Rockets versus the Lakers. Kevin Durant did not play. Luka Doncic, Austin Reeves also not playing. Scott Studio Reichel. Scott, what's going on?
Scotty, beat me up.
Surprise.
Yeah, welcome back. Good to see you. You came back at a right time because the Knicks won, of course, so there you go. Overall, can't complain. Had a good episode last time around. Ended up going 2-1. We threw in a bonus prop segment at the end, so I ended up going 2-1. Lost the lock. I had the Rockets first half. Of course, Durant ended up sitting. What are you going to do? It just is what it is. For the actual numbers, by the way, in that first half, which shows how disgusting it was, the Lakers shot 65% from the floor in the first half. The Rockets shot 37%. So the Lakers were 28% better from the floor, and they led by 2 in the first half. So once again, the Lakers went magnet ball in the first quarter, and they kind of killed the first half. But Durant not playing didn't help me either, but ended up hitting the same game parlay with the Knicks. I cat 15-plus points with the Knicks minus 5.5. That got there. And I had Şengün first quarter points over 4.5. That was plus 104. So the Durant absence helped me and hurt me at the same time. I went 2-1, so I can't really complain.
LeBron with 10 assists at half. Yeah, I mean, we'll see. This is an ugly series, and honestly, I mean, the winner gets to go lose to OKC. So
pretty much.
All right, let's talk about it. We got 4 more playoff games going off tomorrow. We will talk about them all in just a second. But first, got to make sure that we remind everybody that, hey, it's not only the NBA playoffs going on right now, but also the Stanley Cup playoffs as well. Hockey Gambling Podcast has you covered. Tons of podcasts and picks from one of the most exciting playoffs in sports. Hey, go listen in over there at the SGPN app or wherever you get your podcasts. Yeah, let it slide never worked with me. I'm sorry, guys. Scott, I heard that Senators, was it the Senators game?
Yeah.
It automatically started off with dropping of the gloves and hands being thrown. Hockey, I love this time of year with hockey for sure.
Yeah, it's definitely a great time. The Senators, though, had a fight on the opening faceoff and then did not score in the entire game. So probably not the best approach, but a nice win for Carolina. They won 2-0.
All right. Let's see here. Let's get into the slate and the games that people actually came here to talk about. We've got the Philadelphia 76ers tipping things off against the Boston Celtics on the road. Game one of their series, Boston is the favorite. 12 and a half points. Got 12 and a half points here with Boston. 213 and a half is the total. Well, the big news for the 76ers was that Joel Embiid, with the appendectomy that he had, was absolutely missing the playing game, which they found a way to win in pretty convincing fashion. Well, he's still out for the first round of the series. So no Joel Embiid in this game. We'll see if Paul George, Tyrese Maxey be able to carry load here against Boston. What do you got here? Boston, Philly, Boston laying 12 and a half.
Yeah, so for me, I'm going to go with Boston in this one. I understand Philly had a nice win against Orlando. Orlando, the most polarizing playing team I've ever seen, because they looked awful for the end of the regular season, losing to Boston's G League team, basically. Showed up, lost to Philly in a game where they looked really bad, and then they buried Charlotte by about 90. So people aren't really sure what to think of Orlando right now, but Philly got the job done in that game. They didn't look good. The offense was pretty ugly on both sides of the ball, but Maxey made enough plays late to win. But the point is, Boston is definitely much better than Philly. They're much deeper. Tatum being back definitely helps, especially with the rebounding, which could be an issue hypothetically against Drummond and Bona. But I think Boston's too deep. I think when you're looking at Philly, Oubre had a solid playing game. Maxey at 30. Of course, he can still have a great game, but it feels like all of Philly's players need to basically be on their A game to keep this close. Edgecombe had a double-double with the boards in that game as well. I just think Boston's too good for this team. I'm not sure if Philly's going to win a game or not. That's a whole separate conversation. But at home, Tatum's first home game since the injury that he had in the playoffs, I think they dominate personally. I think they win this game by 15 plus. The problem that I have here with Philly, in addition to the actual matchups with Tatum and with Brown against Oubre and whoever the hell else they're going to throw on him, Philly's bench, is about to get smacked because their bench didn't do anything, basically, in the play-in game. Barlow played 10 minutes. Grimes scored like 4 points. Drummond had a double-double, so at least they have a center there. But they just aren't going to get enough bench scoring. And if they end up in foul trouble, a couple of guys here, I'm not a fan of the replacement. So they're a pretty limited group. They only used 8 guys in that play-in game. Barlow only played 10 minutes, so really 7 guys in the rotation. Boston can throw out like 11 to 12 guys that you feel good about, and I just think they're going to wear down Philly over time. I got Boston minus 12 and a half.
I think the big thing for me with Philly is defensively, what are they going to be able to do? Is that going to be able to be consistent? I know that they kind of went on a pretty solid run towards the end of the year, but like it's different when Boston comes around and you have all these threes that are going up and trying to contest everything on the perimeter. I think that, they'll be fine on the inside with the big, maybe not getting the scoring workload that you normally expect from centers from Andre Drummond, but surely on the boards and the glass, he's going to be a menace. I
know you always like fading Boston, but the question is, do you actually like Philly, or is this just a sole Boston fade for you?
I think it's more of just a sole Boston fade, if I'm being honest. It's not a lot of things to like here about Philly, especially Paul George, and just kind of trusting that Paul George was going to be able to go out here and continue what he was doing when he first came back, and he had all those 20-point games, and he looked really, really good coming out of the suspension. But it's going to be all on Tyrese Maxey, and if Tyrese Maxey is able to drop 40. That's what it's going to take for them to be in this game. They still might lose a Tyrese Maxey 40 piece, but that's what it's going to take for them to be in this game. Tyrese Maxey is going to have 40. VJ is going to have to go out there and contribute at least like 20. Paul George has to not be terrible with the basketball every time it's in his hands. I think I see a little bit more points than people would expect in this one, but I think Philly probably hangs around. Maybe it's a 10-point loss, something closer, but I don't think that are like reasonably expected to be in this game. Boston 1-10, I think may be interesting in saying that, hey, Boston goes out here and does what they do where, hey, we're going to go out and win the game in the playoffs. It's not always the prettiest thing, but they're going to go try to win the game. So I'll take Philly just to be different here. the favorites look like they're handling business so far on the Saturday night card. I'll start Sunday off with a dog. Give me Philly plus the 12.5, but I understand for those that don't want to take
By
Philly.
the way, Boston 1-10s plus 210.
Yeah, that's juicy.
So there you go.
All right, totals 213.5. I think I'm going to see a little bit more points. Philly running a faster pace with Tyrese Maxey and VJ Edgecombe. And that's really going to be what they want to do because that Boston defense, when they get in the half court, is just very, very relentless. So trying to keep them in transition, keep the game fast, and get the ball to the rack before the defense has a chance to set themselves. So I like a little bit more points scored in this one over 213.5 here. Scott, what you go?
I think I'm going to agree. There is a world where Boston just hits a bunch of threes and they score 120 points and the game just goes over. Orlando had a bunch of open looks. You could argue that was by design because a lot of their guys can't actually shoot with Paolo, Franz. Suggs was horrible too. But I do think Boston can break down the wings on Philly. Paul George, as we said, not the defender that he used to be. But you still have Brown, you still have Tatum, you still have a lot of three-point marksmen on the bench as well. Boston could score 120. That wouldn't totally shock me, so I'll go with the over with you.
All right. Player props? Anything?
I like Tatum rebounds at 9.5. That was plus 112. He's been great since returning to the lineup from injury. To actually read off the numbers here for his rebounding. So Tatum, I saw plus 112 as the best price. He's had 10-plus rebounds in 7 of his last 9. Philly's allowing the most rebounds per game to opposing power forwards, so a good matchup for Tatum. And against Philly, he has had 11-plus rebounds in 3 of his last 5. I was kind of shocked it was plus money. Emotional game for Tatum, back at home for a playoff game. I think he puts on a show. I think he puts on a double-double. So give me Tatum over 9.5 rebounds plus 112.
All right. Well, you know my start your sitters against the Celtics.
Which one? Drummond or Bona?
Well, it's gonna be Drummond. It's not gonna be the points. I'm gonna take the rebounds. I think he can have a solid, very, very solid rebounding game against the Boston Celtics here. The size has always been an issue for Boston over the course of the entire season. Andre Drummond, big center, he's gonna get the minutes. I really wish, this is one of those Paul Reed type of things. If Paul Reed was still on this team, I would, look for him. And maybe Bona does have like a really sneaky inside game here. But I think
he's really not a great offensive player, Bona. He's kind of just a putback guy. Drummond's somebody who could at least shoot a little bit from the outside, but both guys are not guys you feel great about just dumping the ball to creating something.
So I like that. And then give me Tyrese Maxey over 26.5 and minus 108. He's torched his team all season. They run such a fast pace that it doesn't matter that they have Derek White, Jaylen Brown, like these good two-way players because they can't keep up with him, and he's already slashing to the rim. And that's the way we take advantage. We don't have a proper big to go out there and really attack the lack of rim protection for the Boston Celtics that they've always had throughout the years. So we're going to use Tyrese Maxey there. So Tyrese Maxey over 26.5, probably be on Andre Drummond, 10.5 rebounds plus money. I think that's interesting. All right. Let's get on to the next game of the slate. But before we get to that, got to talk to the people about Kalshi. Making real money predicting sports over there with Kalshi, legal in a ton of different states. And you got a bunch of trading options for Kalshi. You can do the NBA, MLB, NHL, all of that. All available over there. Go check them out. See what you would like to tap in on with Kalshi. New Kalshi customers get $10 when they use promo code SGPN. That is Kalshi, Kalshi, promo code SGPN. We're also watching about Underdog Fantasy. Pick higher or lower your favorite sport over there in Underdog Fantasy. Pick all your favorite players. It could be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Go check them out. You have 2-pick entries now paying 3.5x and 3-pick entries now paying 6.5x over there at Underdog Fantasy. Make sure you lock in with their new offer for new customers. Play just $5. Get $50 in bonus funds when you use that promo code NBASGPN. And we'll do our underdog lineup at the end of the show, as always, of course. Maybe Tyrese Maxey makes that for a higher 26.5. We'll see. All right. Another large spread here. The Oklahoma City Thunder are on the road going to play they're at home. Going to play the Phoenix Suns. Suns are catching 13 and a half points here, Scott.
I saw
13 and
14
a
and
half.
a half out there.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh,
So shop around, we can call it 13 and a half, but there are a couple of 14 and a halves out there.
oh my gosh. 215 and a half is the total. Whoa. What do we have here? Injury report. Not much for Oklahoma City. Honestly, nothing at all.
They've been sitting
And
everybody for the last couple weeks anyway, so they're fine.
Mark Williams is questionable with the foot injury. Grayson Allen is questionable with the hamstring injury. Okay, so Phoenix had the rally against Golden State. I think this is about to be a trend with my next two picks, to be honest, but does it not feel like that was like,
The
oh, they just had it
get up
all
game for them.
together? Yeah, they had it all
Isn't that
together.
usually the move though?
Steph and company.
That's usually the move though. You tend to fade the play-in teams when they play the 1 seeds basically, and they usually get destroyed in game 1. Usually.
Yeah, I would think so. I mean, I don't really have anything for Phoenix in this game because I just think that the only thing that I would say and where I would have pause to jump on this bandwagon, and I think I would buy it for the next game more than I would for this game. And it's because OKC has had a tendency all year of not to take these games serious until the last couple of minutes, where they just kind of sit up in the gamer chair, turn the hat back like Ash Ketchum in Pokemon, lock in, and they win the game. And then they end up not covering. I mean, they haven't been covering well all season, if we're being honest.
Well, you don't think playoff basketball is a bit different though? I mean, it makes sense that they were coasting the regular season against these teams, but game 1 of a series, they might just try to absolutely bury this team.
I mean, I think that's more likely than not. But devil's advocate, just saying, we haven't seen OKC when they're getting the large lines over the course of the season, especially in some of these more competitive teams, playoff caliber teams. They have not been beating the crap out of them like we knew them to last season. The bad teams for sure. But I think that's the one cause for concern I have on the other side of the tape. I mean, they match up with them so well. And like they have the size to compete, even if Mark Williams goes out there. They cover, defend, 1 through 5, everybody, and then you're going into the bench, Caruso and all these other guys coming off the bench playing good defense and just wearing the Rockets down over time. The Rockets have no bench at all. Like, not Rockets, the Suns. Suns have no bench at all, and so not expecting a large contribution from anybody off of the bench. It's going to be a lot of Devin Booker, a lot of Dylan Brooks, some Jalen Green, and I'm just not sure that's going to be enough with OKC, who could probably torch them for 120 when they want.
I mean, I think we're on the same page, but I'm a bit more confident in this. I pulled up the actual series last year because the Grizzlies were in the same exact spot. Grizzlies, as a reminder, they won 48 games last year. They were in the play-in. They lost the game to Golden State, came back, and ended up beating the Mavericks. And then OKC beat them by 51 points in game 1. They were up by 30 and change at the half. So I've seen once again some teams who end up winning the play-in. They get out of it at the last minute, play the 1 seed, and they get absolutely buried. And I think that happens in this one. Head-to-head in the regular season, first of all, it doesn't mean anything. Playoffs are different as far as I'm concerned. We saw that with Orlando in the play-in because the Hornets won the last 3 meetings by 15-plus points, and Orlando beat them by about 90. So I don't really care much, but 3-2 is misleading because they had 1 game at the end of the year where the Thunder benched everybody. To read off the actual games of the season, they faced off 1 time in OKC back in late November. OKC won by 4. The other game was in early December, and the Thunder won by 49 points at home. So I think it's a bad matchup for the Suns. Dylan Brooks calling them foul baiters in the post-game press conference, probably not a great idea right before you head to OKC. But look, it was a good win for the Suns. Jalen Green's been incredible in both playing games. He was really good. Booker's been kind of quiet, and they're going to need him to play well. Brooks did not shoot the ball well in the last game. He's been good historically against OKC. But this is a fully healthy OKC team. I'm not sure what the Suns' answer is going to be. They had a hard time stopping Avdia because of the paint protection with Iguodala or Williams. Williams might not play. If you're not going to be able to stop Avdia on the drive, how are you going to stop SGA? Like, I don't think they have an answer defensively for what the Thunder want to do getting downhill. And you have Hartenstein and Chet against what could be a very compromised front court for Phoenix. This game could be over at halftime. I think Phoenix is going to get buried. They're going to try to bounce back for game 2, but I think the Thunder might win this by like 25. I think this is going to be a very ugly basketball game. First playoff game since they won the title at home. I think they're up by 15 at half. I think they win this game going away. And Booker's got to have a monster game with Jalen Green to keep this close. But if you can't stop Avdia and you give up 40-plus points on endless dribble drives, have fun with SGA. Like, I don't think they got a chance. Give me the Thunder minus, I think, like 20 and a half. I think they smack this team.
Well, Scott, speaking of Kalshi, you can get OKC laying 15 and a half for plus 117 over there at Kalshi.
Good price.
Yeah, this line is growing. We can go ahead and scrap whatever 13 and a half I said. It is a strong 14 and a half here.
Once again, since I said 20, I'm obviously still laying the 14 and a half. But
yeah,
I think that even though the Suns got the job done, the Warriors didn't do a great job of actually attacking the basket. People theorized that Steph was injured, Porzingis was questionable, what else is new? But it was a lot of perimeter-oriented stuff offensively. I think if the Thunder want to get downhill, they're getting downhill. And I don't think the Suns can do anything about it, which I think is the serious problem here for this matchup. So, yeah, I think it's a rout. Like, I would play the drop for this matchup. I think the Thunder lay it on them in game 1.
Now, don't get me wrong. I do think that Phoenix has a good defense. I just think not in this game. Game 2, that's the under game where maybe Phoenix shows up defensively. Keep it a little bit closer. OKC still gets the win.
They won the rivalry game, though. They've had some beef with Golden State over the years. Of course, Clay's not there anymore for Booker's perspective, but they won that game. Could be a nice emotional dump for Phoenix where they just get buried. I think the Suns are just outclassed here.
Yeah,
I think the Thunder are going to sweep them. So I'm on the Thunder to win handily these home games.
Phaeton, 8 seed, game 1, right out of the play-in, yet again.
Yep.
All right, let's see here. Let's go. Next game up on the docket. We've got the Detroit Pistons at home welcoming the Orlando Magic to town for their series. Game 1, Pistons laying 8.5, 219.5 is the total. Oh, Scott. You know how bad I wanted Charlotte to win that game.
Charlotte's more entertaining than Orlando, but you know what? Good for Mosley, good for Orlando. Nobody's thrilled to see them.
He was definitely like...
I do not think it saved his job. I think he's getting fired anyway.
Yeah, he's getting fired anyway.
I think they have to. They traded 4 first-round picks for Desmond Bane and were a playing team anyway. Like, I think he's going to get fired regardless.
I think
just saying, games. It's a mess. I mean, it's also because Franz and Paolo, they've had injury issues. Same thing with Suggs. So it's not all his fault, but I think he's getting fired unless they somehow win the series. But look, good for Orlando. I thought they might roll over after how that game ended against Philly in the first play-in game. I was wrong. I thought Charlotte was going to smack them, and they got smacked. So, you know what? Good for Orlando, but on the like the Hornets, who got absolutely bully-balled in that game. I think the Hornets got outscored like 64-28 in the paint. Like, Diabate and Cockbrenner got absolutely manhandled in the entire game. Have fun trying that with Duren. That's all I'm going to say. Have fun trying that same strategy. They're going to have to hit some shots from the outside. And I do not think they can do that. So I think it's a low number. I understand the Thunder are the team to beat, but 14.5 compared to 8.5 is kind of nuts. I thought Detroit would be like 10.5 if I had to guess a spread here, but are you surprised by the number? I know it's a higher total than the Thunder game, but I think 8.5 short. Did you think it was going to be like 10.5?
No, I didn't think it was going to be like 10.5. I don't really think what I thought it was going to be. Like, I could see you saying 10.5, but like Orlando's still decent. Like they were a game away, a win against Boston's, weak starters, and they're replacing the Raptors as the 6th seed, whatever they were. So
Well, I'm trying to remember if that was true or if they would have been the play-in, but they would have hosted Philly.
no,
I
think
Toronto was
think-
ahead of them because they beat the Nets. So I think they would have been the 7th seed instead of the 8th seed. But in hindsight, I guess, I mean, you would have played Boston instead if you won that game instead of Detroit, but you could argue you'd rather play Detroit. So maybe it aged pretty well for Orlando, but I'm pretty sure Toronto, if they won, they would have been the 6th guaranteed, and they ended up beating the Nets.
They would have been tied for the same. I don't know how the tiebreakers.
Yeah, I think Toronto had the tiebreaker.
It would have been tied for the same record with Toronto, Orlando, and Atlanta all would have had the same record. And I'm pretty sure, almost positive, somebody correct me if I'm wrong, I'm almost positive they won that game, they would have been in the playoff. If they beat Boston, they would have had that win and been in the playoffs and not have already worried about the play-in. Like,
I don't fully remember, but they got out of the play-in, so I guess in hindsight, no harm, no foul. I
think the line is pretty spot on, and it's honestly doing what I was going to do. I was fading this Magic team regardless. Like that was the dumping of the Gatorade. That was the moment they went and they beat that Charlotte Hornets team, who was an upstart and honestly had beat the crap out of them all season. Charlotte had beat them 3-1 and won by double digits in every single one of those games. So I think that now you go and you're playing a Detroit defense that is very good, not only playing fast, but playing slow as well and playing in the half court, setting their defense. You got Cade Cunningham coming back, which is only going to boost this team up. I don't think they have an answer for Jalen Duren on the inside with Wendell Carter or anybody trying to slow him down. So I think Duren's going to be able to go and get his. And the real thing that's going to scare you is when Duren is being able to facilitate out of the post and passing out of the post and getting it to the three-point shooters. And that's when, the other guys start hitting their shots and start rolling. And think about this, man. It's a different air in Detroit right now, yo. This is nothing like the Detroit series last year with the Knicks. Like, there's a different atmosphere where there's an expectation here. And they're saying, hey, Detroit's going to go out here and have this really, really good game. And they're going to go on this run. And they're already kind of licking their chops of, hey, we handle business here. We get to see the Knicks again next round. Or not next round, but in, the finals. I think that's what this all leads to, a Detroit Knicks finals, Eastern Conference finals. And so I'm on Detroit, man. I think this is fade the 8 seed yet again, the dumping of the Gatorade, making the playoffs after that game. And they just play great defense, and Orlando's not able to score. Like, if Detroit starts running up and down on the court on them and making them play fast, Orlando can't keep up with that. We saw how that worked early in the season when they tried to play fast, and they looked horrible. They're going to speed them up. I like Detroit here.
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, I'm looking at a spot where I'm going to go with Detroit as well. Blindly fading the 8 seed, as you said before. I think that unlike what happened against Charlotte, Orlando can't do the same bully ball strategy for this game because Duren is an absolute tank in the interior, and Isaiah Stewart off the bench. So I like the paint defense for Detroit. I think Orlando has to hit some shots. I think there'll be a good game plan in place for Bickerstaff to force this team to hit some shots. And I'm not sure they can do it. And a reminder, the Pistons last year went 0 at home. They haven't won a home playoff game in a long time. I think it's a good emotional spot for Detroit to end the drought, win a home playoff game, and once again try to win this game by as much as possible. But the Knicks series last year was crazy. Both games they won were in MSG. They lost every single home game they had. So I think that it's going to be a solid crowd atmosphere, especially with the Pistons' lack of playoff success for the last 20 years, basically. I think Detroit puts it on them. I'll go for Detroit in this one, but I also like the under in this game. I think the total's a bit high. I was surprised this total was higher than the Thunder-Suns total. That kind of caught me off guard because Orlando plays slow. Detroit doesn't really play fast either. Both teams are solid defensively, and Orlando offensively has really not been great. So I see a low-scoring game in a couple of ways. Detroit maybe scores a bunch, and Orlando does not reach 100. Maybe I'm wrong, and this game turns out to be a barn burner, but it's like 99-97. That's a possibility, too. I like the under. I just see a low-scoring half-court game.
I like Orlando team total under.
I'm afraid. JT, I'm saying Orlando does not have a size advantage. That's what I'm trying to say. I think Duren is going to manhandle what Orlando's trying to do. I'm saying that Orlando had a size advantage over Charlotte, and that's why they were able to bully him on the inside. That's not going to work against Detroit. That's what I was trying to say. Anyway,
Yeah.
sorry. You can continue.
Yeah, no, Durin, stew, beef stew. I agree with you, Scott. I don't think that they're going to have the edge on the inside. It's going to be Detroit all day there. Give me Orlando team total under. I'm not sold on Detroit not running up the score here. I'm actually shocked at. I didn't realize there's a number of people in Orlando, but I'm shocked. That feels like one of the better plays here. Orlando team total under 105.5. I see some 9.5 starting to show out there for Detroit here, Scott. So getting closer to that 10 that you were talking about. Yeah, Orlando team total under, but I think Detroit might actually, if they mess around, they might run a score up on them. So, all right, player props.
I think Duran rebounds is intriguing, but it really comes down to how badly you think Detroit buries this team. If we think it's going to be low scoring, I don't know if I want to really chase Cade props because I question if there's going to be enough points to fully, have some leeway on assists and everything like that. I don't mind potentially taking an under on Franz. He just doesn't look healthy at all. I know he had 18 points against Charlotte, but he really got downhill. He only played 24 minutes in that game, so he's still not playing a full workload. 17.5's a lot against a really good Pistons team that's allowing the third fewest points per game in the entire league. I know he was good in the regular season against them, but once again, he has not played against Detroit since November, and he's clearly not 100%. He also still can't really shoot. That's always been an issue for his entire career. He might have to hit a couple of threes to go over this. I didn't mind the under on Franz points, but I also like the under on Suggs points at 13.5. It's at minus 102. He's had a less than 13 in 6 of the last 7, less than 14 in 6 of the last 8 road games. Kind of the same story. 3-point shots not been good for him lately. And, of course, he'll probably end up getting the Cade assignment. Watch out for foul trouble in this game. Could be a problem for him, too. But Suggs' offense has not been great recently. Number feels a bit high for an Orlando team that we think might not reach 100 in this game. So give me Suggs under 13.5 points.
I want to maybe Cade assists. I mean, I know it's a high number, but I think he's good for 10 assists.
Yeah, I think he is. I think he probably is too. But once again, it's a half-court game. Should be ugly. That's kind of why I stayed away because his PRA is at 42.5 in what should be an absolute rock fight of a game. But I mean, I can see a path where Cade has a monster stat line. His assists though 9.5, so minus 135 on the over. At that point, I think it's under a pass. But I really am. I think the number. I've been really just priced out of Cade overs for this game, which is why I have to pass.
Yeah, Jalen Duren over 32.5 on the points and rebounds. That's what I'm getting behind here. If I trust anybody in this game, it's Jalen Duren, especially with Cade back. I think that's a large part of his assist there, just playing 2-man with Duren. All right. We got one more game to talk about, but before we get to that, I got to talk to the people about Rhythm, your official tool, data tool for dominating golf, MLB, and us, the NBA. Make sure you go check them out. Let their models help you cash in. You can use their models, or you can build your own. Play around with the sliders. Add things that you think mean more to the game. Offense, defense, tempo, fouls, all of that. Go check it out. Play around with the Rhythm app. See what you can cook up, and go premium. Use that promo code SGPN25 when you download the Rhythm app for 25% off your first month. Download Rhythm and use that promo code SGPN25. We're also brought to you by Novig, America's #1 sports prediction market. You're getting the best prices on the market with Novig. Go check them out. Download the Novig app and get $50 when you spend $5 when you use that promo code SGPN. Get in on the action with Novig, promo code SGPN. All right, next up. San Antonio Spurs at home welcoming the Portland Trailblazers. Spurs laying 10.5. 221.5 is the total injury report. And we have here for the San Antonio Spurs, it looks like, whoa. There we go. All right, San Antonio Spurs, and we have Jordan McLaughlin out. That's it. Nothing for Portland. Well, I think this is like one of the tougher games for me because I do think that Portland is pretty good, pretty decent. Let's say that. Drew Holiday and what he meant when he came back to this team and they got Robert Williams back and they got Matisse Thybulle back. And it's like it had some depth and they
And
started
Sharp.
to, yeah, and Sharp as well. And all those guys came back. They built that depth. And it seems like this is the Portland team that we were kind of expecting to see in the early part of the season. And we did kind of see a little bit. They had different injuries. Grant was out for some time as well, like Scoot Henderson. All these guys have been in and out, and it just kind of seems like it's all starting to come together at the right moment. But it feels like both of these two teams are very green, and I think that's what makes this an interesting series, Scott, because you have Tiago Splitter and Mitch Johnson. What does this mean for Splitter going up against the Spurs, his old team, the Spurs? Like, you talk about Mitch Johnson and taking this Spurs team on a playoff run finally. Like, the last time we talked about the Spurs in the playoffs, it was Greg Popovich. We weren't talking about Mitch Johnson. Like, you have all of that, and then it's the youth and Wemby and I think De'Aaron Fox.
Castle.
Yeah, Castle. Like, you can't even really say Harrison Barnes because he's coming off of the bench. So, like, De'Aaron Fox in this starting lineup is the only one with playoff experience on both sides. Wait, no, well, Drew Holiday, of course. Yeah. Sorry, Drew, multiple time champion. I apologize. But
Jeremy Grant's been around, but
yeah, but you get it. You get what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like, a lot of the heavy hitters,
Are
Denny
young.
Avdia, Samari Kamara, Scoot Henderson,
Klingon.
Clinging, like, on both sides, Wemby, Castle, like all these guys, this series is a very, very green series in terms of being in the playoffs. And so it kind of leads me to believe that this is going to be a closer game. And like both of these two teams are going to be trying to figure it out in this first game and feeling each other out. And what are the adjustments going to be later on in the series? That's really what I'm going to be looking forward to in these two teams. But like Splitter and that angle of him playing the Spurs in the first playoff series, coaching, and he didn't even think he was supposed to be doing this year. When the year started, Chauncey Billups was the head coach. Chauncey Billups.
I made a joke on the Mothership show if they gave Chauncey cable access just for this game.
Like, did you watch it? Would you watch it? Would you want to watch it?
I don't know what else there is to watch over there, so probably. Right? I can't imagine the
I feel
TV
like
selection.
What time is this game? 9 o'clock? Is that lights out? What's lights out?
It depends where it's being held, too. There might be a time difference.
Yeah, okay, possibly.
You gain an hour if you're in Texas. You gain a few more hours if you're in Portland. So I don't know where it's being held. That's a whole separate point.
Yeah.
I don't think they have the Amazon Prime package, though, so we better hope this game's on TV. It's on NBC. You can watch this game.
It just feels like, yes, San Antonio is going to win the series. Yes, I think San Antonio has what it takes to make a deep playoff run. But they got to figure it out. And this Portland team, I think they'll get up for a game. I really, really do. Denny Avdia goes out and has some 30-point game, keeps them in it, and it's good. It's close. It's competitive. I'll take Portland plus the points.
Yeah, I'm going to disagree. The theme for me is basically just a bunch of favorites blowing teams out tomorrow. So I'm not picking the most, I'd say, competitive games tomorrow. But I think it's a really bad matchup for Portland. They faced off 3 times this season. Spurs went 2-1. A reminder that Wemby played in none of those 3 games. I'm going to ask you a question. Wemby, the last time he played Portland was not this season. It was last season. You want to guess how many blocks he had in that last meeting?
Is that like the 8-block game?
He had 10.
Oh, yeah.
In the last meeting.
Something crazy.
The problem I have with Portland and why I think it's a really bad matchup for Portland is because offensively, they're not very good. They ranked 23rd in offensive efficiency post-All-Star break. They got the job done against Phoenix. A reminder, they were down double digits in the fourth quarter. They came back and they won. They're not a great outside shooting team. Sharp can get hot. Scoot can occasionally get hot. Drew Holiday's going to have to hit some shots. Kamara's improved in the area. but Avdia is their best player, and he really is a poor three-point shooter. He wants to attack the basket. He wants to go to the free throw line. He wants to get inside the paint. And the problem that I run into, and it's why Portland's opponents led the league in blocks, they allowed the most blocks per game in the entire league. So they want to attack the rim, and I just don't see how that's going to work against San Antonio. You're looking at Wemby, who's going to sit in the paint, probably block 5 shots in this game, and I'm really just not sure what the Trailblazers' counter is going to be if they can't finish shots around Wemby, because they really can't shoot. And they got back into the game. I know Grant made a couple of threes in the corner, but it was mainly Avdia going ISO, just picking on either Dylan Brooks or at the end, Goodwin going to the basket, getting fouled. That's just not going to work against San Antonio. So I think it's a bad matchup. I think that with Fox, with Castle, with Wemby, they have a lot of overall offensive talent on that team. I like their bench. They sat a bunch of guys in that last meeting. Castle and Wemby both did not play. Portland was still competing for seeding, and they ended up winning by double digits anyway, with their 2 best players not playing. So I think that it's a bad matchup for Portland. They need Wemby in foul trouble or something. But Wemby, if he is able to dominate a game defensively like he can do and like he has done all season, he'll be unanimous Defensive Player of the Year. I think Portland's out of moves. So I'm on the Spurs minus 10.5 because I don't think Portland can score.
Good point. Good point. I think the Portland defense has a little bit more to say here. Keep them in the game. I'm on a low-scoring game. Give me the under 221.5 here.
I agree with you, too, because I think Portland drags it down.
Yeah, I think Portland and under for me. Keep the game close. I'm more of the mind of I am very interested in what a Drew Holiday, like what the grit of a Drew Holiday-led team, because it's not like there's, another alpha in the room talking. Like, they're going to lead on defense in this series. Like, I think it's going to be one of those contested, very, low scoring series where this is like a 105, 100 type of game, like something like that. I could see that happen. And yeah, for your credit, I think the home crowd definitely will give the San Antonio Spurs the win, but give me Splitter and those boys to keep it a little bit closer. Denny Opti has been really, really good. I just think that he's going to go out there and have a game. And
for the record, I don't mind Portland as a team. If they got the Denver matchup, I think that would have been intriguing. But I think San Antonio is one of
Wemby's a force.
I think it's one of the worst matchups they could have gotten because they can't really shoot, and Wemby's the best rim protector, arguably in the history of the sport. And that's all they want to do. So, I don't know what your counter is if Wemby is just has his hands up and not even just shots blocked, but just shots where he either alters mentally or they just turn their back because they don't want to even attempt it. And Portland's not great offensively in the first place. I think the Spurs might get a lot of stuff available. We'll see how Klingon does in the pick and roll defensively, but of course, he's a great rim protector as well. I can't get past what Wemby's going to do to this offense. Wemby blocks over 3.5, by the way, is plus 115. Big fan of that. I think he goes for like 5+. First home playoff game for Wemby.
Yeah.
I think they put on a show. I got the Spurs. If you think Portland makes it interesting, that might be game 2. I think game 1 is the what the hell do we do about Wemby? Because they haven't played him all season. And I think that actually works to San Antonio's benefit.
I think this is the series that I'm fully prepared to fade whatever the result is of game 1 and game 2.
Yeah.
Like, neither way, whether you're right or whether I'm right, I'm pretty sure whatever the result is, I'm like, yo, this is probably like, I just don't think that either one of these coaches, these teams are going to be able to string together, a lot of great performances. Maybe the Spurs get a lot of wins, but like one blowout, one not, one blowout, one not, something like that.
Yeah, it's just pretty difficult. When the last time you saw this team, they had to deal with rim protector injured Mark Williams, who missed the next playing game, and you got whatever you wanted. And now you have an actual rim protector. I think it's just night and day. So that's kind of why I think Portland's going to have problems in game 1. Game 2, maybe we'll reevaluate. But game 1, I think it's going to be a shocking difference in paint defense.
All right. You're on under 2, right? Yes, because you don't trust Portland.
I like Portland team total under more, but yes.
Anything player prop wise? Anything else to add here?
No, I said Wemby blocks. I think that 3.5 plus money is a solid price at plus 115. I think Avdia will keep trying him, and even Sharp might try to dunk on him a time or two. Even Klingon might try to go for some layups. There are a lot of guys on Portland who are willing to attack the basket, which is just going to be a block line for Wemby. So I like the over on his blocks.
Unlikely hero in the game. Demso.
Okay. That's he's been your guy for a long time. So
yep. He's been waiting. He's been through some bad iterations of this team.
Mm-hmm.
Comes out first home game. He's on fire. Hits a few threes here. I like Demso. So, all right. Wow, Scott, that's it.
Yep.
And just like that, and lock, dog, underdog.
I'll give you a choice though. You want lock and dog or lock, dog, and prop?
Oh yeah, lock, dog, prop for sure.
We have less games, so I made a unilateral decision to just add another play at the end of the show.
Great unilateral decision, Scott. Lock. Detroit minus 8.5. I mean, come on. Why would I go into the playoffs and do anything different than what I've been doing all season? Just back in Detroit. Dog. I don't really trust the first half angle enough. Well. Let's go and let's fade Boston in some capacity.
I was going to say you could do Boston 1-10 at plus 210. We said that earlier.
Very good sweat, but it's like betting on Paul George.
To some degree. Once again, keep it close and then miss the shot at the end to lose the game. That's actually right up Paul George's alley. Ball game.
You know what, Scott? I think that's the best sell job you've had all day.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
I think that's the best. You know what? Yeah, let's lock in. Boston 1-10 plus 210. Boston gets the win and I make some money. I'm with that. All right, that's my dog. Player prop. Let's stick with Detroit. Give me Duren over 32.5 points of rebounds. Yeah, I think that I think the physicality and what they thought they had with Cockburner and Diabate, like this motor that Duren has and he's going to have in this game. Last time he played, only took 9 shots, had 18 points. Like I think and it was 18-9 in a meaningless game. Like I think he's going to go out there with Cade and he's going to go out and explode and also shoulder a lot of the workload because we know Cade is still working himself back. So it's going to be a lot of dump offs to Duren. Duren over 32.5 points of rebounds.
Yeah, so for me, I'm going to go with the Spurs. I'm going to disagree with you as my lock at minus 10.5. I just think it's a really bad matchup. I think that Wemby's going to patrol the middle, and if Portland can't get the rim runs they need, I don't trust the outside shooting enough. So based on that, give me San Antonio at home. I know that, once again, it's a splitter homecoming. I don't think the Spurs care. When was the last time they had a playoff game at home? Like when DeMar DeRozan was still there? It's been a long time since they've had postseason basketball in San Antonio. I think they show up for game one. I think Wemby puts on a show. Same thing with Castle. Give me the Spurs minus 10.5 as my lock. For my dog, pretty simple. Give me the Thunder alt spread minus 17.5 at plus 150. I think they smacked this team. Dylan Brooks doing Dylan Brooks things, poking the bear, calling them foul baiters. Have fun with 3 fouls in the first half. That's coming up for you in this game. But Booker's not been great recently. Jalen Green was really good in those 2 playing games. Have fun with either Caruso, Jalen Williams, Cason Wallace, all these guys who just hound you on defense. Not to mention Williams is banged up. Now you have to deal with Hartenstein and Chet. It's a brutal matchup for Phoenix as far as I'm concerned. I think the Thunder lay it on them. I will fade the 8 seed back to 1, and I think the Thunder at home in that environment, it's very tough to beat them anyway in that place. But damn, I think the Suns are going to have problems in game 1. They might win that game by 25. Give me the Thunder minus 17.5 at plus 150. as my dog. For the prop, once again, Wemby over 3.5 blocks at plus 115. I like the plus money. I think Portland's identity is to try to get into the paint as much as possible, maybe force Wemby into foul trouble, but Portland allowed the most blocks per game in the entire league for a reason. They are not going to shy away from attacking the rim, and Wemby's going to be sitting there, planted, ready to punch shots into the fifth row. Give me Wemby over 3.5 blocks plus 115.
All right. I like it, Scott. I like that Wemby blocks play. Let's go ahead and find that in Underdog. There we go. Blocks Wemby higher, 3.5. It is spicy.
My runner-up on the prop was a play that you did co-sign. It was the Tatum rebounds at 9.5. I don't know if you still want it for Underdog or not, but
Yeah, we can take him.
You're picking a somewhat close game,
well.
so Tatum's going to end up playing a lot of minutes, right?
Yeah, spicy as well. So higher,
cool.
Tatum on the rebounds, and close it out with Duren, I guess.
Cool.
I think that's a good play. He really should beat up on him. There we go. Jalen Duren higher, 32.5 points and rebounds. Jason Tatum higher, 9.5 rebounds, and Victor Wembanyama higher, 3.5 blocks. Scott with the 20% extender boost. Shout out to the playoffs and Underdog Fantasy. We go from 7.02x to 8.22x over there at Underdog Fantasy. Make sure you use that promo code NBA SGPN. Anything else for people before we get up out of here?
Not really. I'm still working. I got to do a VSiN appearance in like half an hour. So I'll be busy. But once again, looking forward to the games. Should be fun. And even though we have seen some, I'd say, favorites covering some spreads, and I'm picking the same thing to happen again tomorrow, remember, it's a marathon, not a sprint. It's best of 7. We will be getting good games at some point during the playoffs. Everybody just calm down. That's my last point. The games might have been ugly today. They'll get better over time. That's all I'm going to say. That's my last point. But yeah, that's all I got. So, I know. You have anything else you want to add?
Yes, we are wearing black for the Hawks funeral.
Yes. I had the Knicks to win game 1 in the series at minus 130. I feel pretty good.
Very good. All right. He's at Rush already. I'm at really raw __. Make sure you give us a follow at SGPN NBA, youtube.com/NBA Gambling Podcast. Like, comment, subscribe, all of that stuff. And with that, 5-star rating and review wherever you get your podcast. Nothing else saying, nothing else do. No other way of ending podcast. Just gonna end it like this. I'm really, really interested to see how the West shakes out. I think it might be just as simple as OKC just gets the win, but like there's a lot of fun teams in the